about to feed them to the sharks right now. Get them hype right now. Yeah. You know the ground is our... Yeah. Everybody that trains, you know the game. Yeah. So let's get it. Slap it up, bump it, and roll. Hey. Yeah, that's the way that it goes. Ain't no better way to better yourself in this game. You're feeling the growth. That's real. It's time on the mat. We put in the work. Believe it ain't easy, I know. But we train for the love of the game, the love of the art. Now slap it up, bump it, let's roll. Let's roll. Let's roll.
Welcome to episode 38 of the BJJ Campaign Podcast. My name is Jeff Boone. I'm an A3 blue belt, 2 stripes.
This is Phil Coors, A2 blue belt, 1 stripe.
So Philly, this past weekend, we had a great time at Toro Cup 14 to benefit the Davini family. Raised quite a bit of money for them. That was a great cause and a wonderful tournament. 38 matches in all.
Yes.
Bunch of women's matches, bunch of men's matches, bunch of black belt matches. And we also had the opportunity to talk to, 7 or 8 black belts?
Believe 8.
Yeah. More on that later in the episode. Yeah.
No, that was cool. Jeremy had a cool match. Jeremy Arell. It was very quick. That was so fast I didn't even know what happened. But yeah. Then Corby and Meow's match was the opposite, very long, and it was cool to see.
Yeah, world champion Jiao Meow with DeAndre Corby for the Toro World Cup. World Cup? World title.
What are they, lightweight, middleweight, whatever they are? Lightweight, probably.
Lightweight, I think, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, great match. Bunch of great matches, too. A lot of finishes. And one of the things I really enjoyed about the entire weekend was going up and training on Friday night with the folks at Triangle Jiu-Jitsu there where Toro Cups was held.
Yeah. Yeah. I am so bad at takedowns.
You and I both at judo?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Not good.
Brandon was super patient with us.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was required.
I think that him and Pete both saw that it was a remedial class that they were dealing with. And when I say remedial, I'm being very liberal in that, and that maybe first day judo class.
It looks one way when he does it, and it looks another when I do it.
Right when he does it, wrong when we do it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks cool. Molly made the comment that it looks like some dance or whatever. And he's like, yeah, it's very similar. The body movements were some dance steps or whatever with the turning. And I was like, well.
Yeah, you're a horrible dancer.
I'm 0 for 2. So.
So am I, Phil. So am I. Got to meet Andrew Faraday there. For those that aren't familiar with Andrew, he's doing a documentary. We posted on our Facebook group page, which the group is now open to the public. So check us out on Facebook there, the Facebook group, BJJ Campaign Podcast.
Yeah, and that match we were talking about too was posted with Daniel Frank's commentary, which is helpful because I enjoyed watching the match anyway, but I only know what I know, obviously. So getting black belt's high-level commentary that kind of is able to break it down. A couple jokes in there as well, obviously, but kind of let you know what's coming, what to look for, and all that is nice.
And that was the championship match, Jiao Meow and DeAndre Corby.
Right, yeah.
So you get a little taste of the quality of work that Andrew Faraday does just by watching that match. It's unbelievable camera work, and so just to kind of go on about the fight game, he's doing a documentary. He's interviewing a ton of fighters. I mean, I've seen Marcus Davis on there. I've seen Derek Brunson. So many, and a lot of world famous former UFC fighters, current UFC fighters. I thought it was very interesting. So support goes out to him for that. I don't know when it's going to be out, but he's still in the interview and filming process of that. So, Anything else that stood out to you about Toro Cup 14?
I don't think so. I think it was another fun trip. I still think that's the best like spectator jiu-jitsu you can watch, where you're seeing good matchups one after the other. All the attention's on it. It's a lot better, in my opinion, than just going to a local tournament where you're got like 8 different matches all going at once and you got to wait 5 hours to see the one you want to see, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that is what it is. This obviously isn't an open one to everybody. It's more set up for spectators than those. But yeah, if you've never seen like competition jiu-jitsu, I would strongly, because it's for a good cause anyway, but if you're just interested in the jiu-jitsu portion, I'd recommend trying to get out there to watch one, because it's the best way to watch it, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Well worth the $10 entry fee. And also, those matches, even though Bagels made it sound easy, I know that the quality of matches that he puts together is incredible. And without somebody with his knowledge of the scene, both local and not local, all over the North, South Carolina, Virginia area, it's just incredible. Some really, really well thought out, great matches. So next we're going to talk about an article that we posted on the group page, which is how to be a good black belt. No, not black belt.
No, not that one.
They're all good. Black belts are all good. How to be a good blue belt. And it was written by a pretty good black belt.
Yeah.
John Danaher.
Yeah, he's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So Phil, let's talk about that for a little bit. What do you think makes a good blue belt?
I do agree with a lot of what he said towards the end of the article about just kind of keep showing up, trying to refine everything. I find that the more different things I play with, I'll just get frustrated because I can't get to where I want to get anyway, and it kind of comes right back to the fundamentals every time, because I can't do anything I want to do until I figure those out, So it's like I wanted to try to do like De La Riva stuff, and I can't get there, like it doesn't matter, right? If I can't get to the position I'm trying to get into, all the extra stuff I'm drilling over here, it never comes up because people are just past my guard immediately. So it's like you need that fundamental guard retention first. If that's not there, then it doesn't matter. And if I try to work on anything on top, if I can't sweep anybody from closed guard, because that's where I am the majority of the time, or I can't get on top any other way, all the other stuff isn't going to matter,
Yeah.
So for me, it kind of keeps coming back there. So I think the refining thing is a big deal, and just keep on showing up to do all that stuff. I agree with him on some of the other stuff, like staying after it clean and help where you can. And we believe we try to do that stuff to the best of our abilities as far as kids classes, greeting new people, and that's definitely being a good blue belt, but that's also just good person.
Good any belt, right?
Yeah, it's kind
good
of
white
extends.
belt, good any belt. And I thought it was interesting. I think it's interesting he gravitated towards the technique because he says kind of like have a knowledge of the fundamentals, sort of, but not a mastery. Obviously, there's no mastery in any of the techniques that we're performing, except your Kimura when you let it go.
Yeah,
but I really did. That struck a chord is that whenever he said, that you're contributing to the overall positivity of the environment of the academy. And again, I don't think that's exclusive to good blue belt. I think that's everyone in the academy is facilitating that. Someone new walks in the door, like you said, you greet them, maybe even work with them that day. And whenever you're, going through the fundamental techniques, maybe not concentrate so much on correcting the technique itself as to getting the overall positions. Maybe point out where there's some of the fundamental movements, whether it be a shrimp, whether it be a stand and base, whatever your fundamental techniques are. And I think whenever you're paired up with that new person, just making sure they're having fun.
Yeah.
Not take it too serious. Laugh. Like I was paired up with someone new Monday, and she signed up actually, but she started laughing, and she's like, "Oh, is it okay if we laugh?" I'm like, "Not only is it okay, it's pretty much expected that you're gonna laugh when you screw it up. You're gonna laugh whenever you do it right. There's a lot about jiu-jitsu that is fun, and make sure that those new people will know that jiu-jitsu is fun.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I definitely agree with that. That's funny.
Yeah,
That
it is
question's
funny.
funny. Yeah, I could see like when you go back to the first, because I remember I thought everybody was gonna be an asshole when I first started. I had no idea.
You thought it was going to be Cobra Kai when we walked in there?
100%. So I was like trying to figure it out, but no. Everybody's cool, obviously, but that's a funny question. I can see why they would ask it. That makes me laugh.
It does make you laugh and makes you think, right? Because I'm smiling the whole time because I'm having fun,
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm quite that serious whenever we do that.
And I remember what I was going to say now. I made a comment to somebody on the Purple Belt for the Sunday rolls, and I said I like it when you come because it kind of gives more legitimacy to what we're doing to have more upper belts at this open mat event that we have, and I think that's good. And I could see, blue belts are going to be a lot more common than purple, brown, and black. So I think it's important as one of the colored belts to try to be, you're going to be more accessible than all the rest of them, and there's just going to be more of you.
Sure.
For trying to make the new people feel as welcome as possible, because it happens all the time. Like I see fundamental stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not good at this. Like I'm not really going to be too much help in correcting your actual technique, but I can get you in the ballpark for like close to how I'm doing it poorly, but you're going to be much better than, obviously somebody who's never seen it before. So that goes a long way and is important.
Yeah, for sure. And two, whenever you're partnered up with that new person, just let them know and identify, because right, a lot of these techniques we've seen how many times? 12, 15, maybe 20 times. Who knows? Depending on how many classes you've gone to. I think I've gone to like 600 and some of our classes. So that's quite a few of the techniques over and over. And just let them know and identify with them and say, hey, yeah, I totally forgot what we were even doing several times whenever I first started. So don't feel like you have to get everything right away. Now, that also, coupled with maybe give them the suggestion of, hey, it's, I wish I would have known whenever I started to look at my BJJ notes or some other note-taking way for documenting your kind of campaign and documenting the moves, techniques as you learn. Again, to kind of look back on, refine, and laugh at whenever at all possible.
And trying to make people realize, like, you're not supposed to know anything.
Right.
Like, none of it seems natural when you're explained, like, when it's explained to you. So, if you've only been there a month, nobody's expecting you to know anything because it takes 50 years to figure it out,
Yeah.
Nobody thinks you know.
Yeah, maybe longer. And two, on that same note, also kind of it's not teaching the technique, but teach them the etiquette that is around what we do. Explain to them why that person with more experience does the move first whenever you are in a fundamentals and taking a class, and that reason is because, hey, they're probably more likely to know it and get it closer to right, than not. So explaining that etiquette to them, not that they're going to remember all that stuff, but it just lays a good foundation for them being successful at whatever their goals are in jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. The other thing that he mentioned was, besides the consistency, which I think is a huge part of it, is help coach the kids, right? If we know that in our academy there's a big kids program, and it's you need a lot of people on the mat, and it's not like you're giving them technique advice, maybe a little, right? But it's more or less making sure the kids don't get hurt, right? Making sure they're trained properly, making sure that they're not too out of line while still having fun,
Same thing as the adults. Have fun, don't get hurt.
Yeah. That's it.
They'll figure it out.
That's it. And also, we said it before, and I'll say it again, and that is that just being there to kind of watching that third person, the techniques, you learn so much about the techniques as you're going through it.
Yeah, you really do. It's selfishly for me, helping with the kids' classes has made a big impact on my jiu-jitsu. And I think in ways I'm still kind of figuring out the more time I spend around it and then kind of reflect on like what's happening with stuff I'm trying, I'm seeing a lot of little things pop up all over the place outside of just the technique that I'm picking up that I might not have seen before or whatever.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, 100%. That's what it's that exposure, right? You get that more exposure. You're seeing the techniques. Especially you, Phil. You go to sometimes all three of the kids' classes. I generally only make the last kids' class, but
Yeah.
but seeing that technique over and over again has to kind of trigger something in your mind.
Well, that does it, but I think too. I noticed once Bagel said it when we were talking to him, that I think triggered me realizing it was like in the class. I'm never just walking around and just watching, standing up, third person, like bird's eye view down.
Yeah.
I'm always doing it or having it done to me.
Right.
The only time I'm watching is when John or whoever is instructing.
Right.
So with the kids, and I don't think it's so much whether I'm trying to teach technique or I'm just watching, but spending all that time around techniques that I already quote unquote know, looking down, watching where things are failing, what people are struggling with, because it's all the same stuff. Because I'll come back and I'll notice 4 people had the same problem, or 4 kids had the same problem, but it's always that same like view is different, and in the technique portion and in the sparring, I think it's made a difference in just things I've noticed, where positions come up, where people are getting stuck, and just you see a lot of different things. And for me, I didn't even realize I was seeing them for months before it kind of clicked. And I think him saying that was something that like triggered putting those two thoughts together in my head, which was cool.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And another thing about being a good blue belt, or again, I think any belt, I don't think any of this stuff is exclusive to blue belts, and that is being a good training partner, right? The new white belt that walks in, don't smash them. Be a good training partner. Let them protect yourself, obviously, but make sure that you're putting the appropriate level of force and everything, just like you would, again, at any other belt level as well. That goes along with not just the lower belts, but also with the upper belts, for and it's harder with some of the upper belts, the Lees, the Ryans, or anything like that. But whenever you're training with them, obviously they're going to submit you. Don't tap right whenever they get into the submission, because what's going to happen, right? I mean, what's going to happen. But I never forget, like Ryan Legs, whenever he had this, I think it was a bow and arrow. He's going for some choke or something, and I was pre-tapping.
Yeah.
Right. That's terrible. You should never pre-tap. You shouldn't hold your hand up like you're getting ready to tap. You should always be defending or tapping, right? Not pre-tapping. But and that kind of made me aware of it, and so folks, I'm not saying in an arm bar wait till the last minute to do that. No, be safe in your training, but also, first off, the upper belts are never going to rip that arm bar. I've never had one even come close to ripping an arm bar, and try the hitchhiker escape, a late escape, if you want, to make sure that they're doing it. They're gonna catch it. They're gonna but it also gives you an opportunity to try your late escapes against someone who's way better than you.
Yeah.
Right? To refine that technique, right? Say, hey, what did I do wrong there? After you tap, what did I do wrong there?
Yeah. Practice.
Yeah. Or I'm just better at arm bars than you are escaping. That might be the answer too.
Oh no, I mean you just get the practice of trying the hitch. Like you're not gonna get out, but you're gonna.
Yeah.
You're gonna.
And they're not gonna hurt you.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, that's being comfortable with your training partners and knowing.
I think those are the better people to try it with, because they're
100%
gonna have the control over the position, where they don't, the person who's going to panic grip your arm is the one who doesn't know or isn't comfortable in the position and feels you escaping, so they're going to start pulling harder and just trying to like finish the armbar. I had a conversation about that the other day when they were asking about the escape or whatever, and I was like, I possibly could have saved it, but I had lost all control of the position, and that's kind of what I'm after, is I should be able to control the armbar first and then put on the submission versus trying, like, I know I'm losing it, so let me crank on the arm real hard, and see if I can salvage it, when that's not the purpose of training. The purpose of training is for control of the position, right? So
Yeah.
that's who's going to be
position, submission.
That's who's going to be good at doing that. Is going to be, the higher the belt, theoretically, the better they should be at that. So you should be able to try your escapes from there, and they should have control. I mean,
yeah, and just like an example of that too, someone on a lower belt at Sunday Rolls, I was rolling with Yona, and she got her in an arm bar, and she tapped. And I said, "Yeah, that's fine, but try the hitchhiker escape."
right.
Well, but I don't want to get hurt. And I said, "Well, first off, I'm not ever going to rip that, and no one." And that was the day that was.
Yeah.
I think she was only white belt, and then it was all blue belts and purple belt there. And I said, nobody in this room is going to hurt your arm if you try the hitchhiker escape.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody in this room. Be aware that if you're going against another white belt, maybe that's not the perfect one to try it on for the reasons that you pointed out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's important too, and it's certainly a way to make your own jiu-jitsu a lot better.
Agreed.
What else? Anything else on that, Philly?
It kind of talks about reasons people quit, but I think that's just a longevity issue. Probably something comes up kind of thing for most people, I would assume. Because he kind of touches on things like feeling like you're good enough in a street fight situation, that you should be able to like handle yourself, So he talks about the mastery is, and the way I read it was, you're going to be good enough for the majority of your self-defense situations.
Sure.
And then in the gym, you're not going to, like, your mastery level is going to be essentially good enough against brand new people or what have you, is how I take it.
And that's why they quit.
It kind of gets boring.
Oh.
That is what I could see. Because that's what happened to my friend Scott, is essentially he got hurt, like, doing something stupid, like broke his collarbone. And he had done like karate his whole life or whatever growing up.
Flying armbar, is that what he said?
Flying armbar, flying triangle. But I've seen him attempt to play basketball, so I'm sure his flying. I'm not sure how much he was flying. But yeah. So his line of thinking is like he's good enough in a street fight or whatever to where self-defense situation would be fine. And I think the challenge of trying to climb in the gym for him got old. You know what I mean? Like, because that progress is going to slow down.
I mean, I understand that line of thinking. It's not something, because personally, I don't ever see myself getting in a street fight.
No.
Ever. You know what I mean? I mean, if it comes, it's great that I'm prepared. Believe me, I like doing the self-defense. I think it's valuable, but I don't see that. I don't do jiu-jitsu for that reason. I do it for the art of it and getting better and learning and staying in shape and being stimulated mentally and physically.
Yeah, and if you're focused on yourself, that's fine. But he did a lot of competitions and whatnot. So my assumption is the fact that you're not easily progressing like you were when you were starting out, right? And there were people who don't train very often, and then there were new people, and you would see yourself making progress and able to do things against brand new people and people who don't train a lot. But I think after there's a certain point in time where you then have to challenge yourself to try stuff you're not good at in training and try to get good at that against people who don't train a lot. Because people who are already better than you and train consistently, you're not catching them. Or you have to make it up in other areas somehow.
Well, you have to make it up by being more consistent, right? I mean, that's how you make it up, is instead of doing 2 to 3 classes a week. If that person who's better than you are doing 2 to 3 classes a week, you have to do 5 or 6 classes a week.
So
right?
I think what can happen in people's heads is as that progress meter kind of becomes harder to read because you're not seeing jumps anymore and it's just a slow climb, you know. I think that is what deters a lot of people, and then they'll just say like, oh yeah, well I mean, against all the new people and in a self-defense situation, I'm confident that I'd be able to handle this situation, you know, and I don't need to worry about like training and getting hurt and all that stuff. And then you'll hear all those excuses. But I think if somebody was training a lot and then slows down, I think that would be a big reason.
Yeah, no, I can see that, and I can see that injury type thing because whenever you come back, guess what? That person who was close to you is going to be better than you if you're out for 6 weeks, right? Not so much better if you keep coming in, keep watching class, keep thinking. Another thing that he said was study outside of jiu-jitsu. I think it was a little bit of marketing on his part, saying study DVDs or digital material, right? I mean, he's got to have his little plug in there for the marketing. I don't blame him. I don't begrudge him of that. But he's right. I mean, they're especially like I've been working on that De La Hiva a lot. I really like that position. I think it's one that suits me, and so I'll watch videos specific to the De La Hiva stuff and kind of mentally break down the position. I'm not going to remember the moves, but I'm going to remember the concepts, right? And that's what I'm talking about on studying jiu-jitsu. And I'll give Danaher a plug. I mean, his enter the system, we got that leg lock enter the system for him, and giving the rationale behind it and the concepts behind it is invaluable for the defense of it as well. I mean, leg locks, while hard to master and hard to defend against somebody at a very high level, they are fairly. It's a fairly easy concept for defense for someone who doesn't have that high level of mastery in the leg locking game. So seeking that external, obviously you can ask your professor at open mat, talk to them. I think also that something that he left out and should have been placed in there is that whenever I got my blue belt, and I think I've shared this before, I sent John, our professor, a note saying, hey, here's what my goals are at blue belt. And one of those goals was to well, actually a couple of them were on here, which was really, really study and deepen my knowledge of the fundamentals, and to also help more with the kids program. I mean, so I think you have to identify those goals clearly to your professor, because guess what? Those goals may have been off, and if I would have said something like, I want to, get a killer leg lock system in my game, and he's, and then he would, John in his own very nice way, saying it, would told me that was probably not the right thing to do, but to get that feedback, to make sure that you're not spending time on stuff that could be better spent somewhere else. Mm-hmm. Thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. I mean, you can tell them. I also, like I said earlier, I think it's a self-correcting thing. If you're trying to do stuff outside your wheelhouse or whatever you want to call it, I can try to do all the fancy guard stuff I want. If people stand up and pass my guard immediately, it is not going to matter. If I can't escape side control, it is not going to matter. I mean, I think Jocko said it once or whatever, when people were like, didn't like the word basics or whatever, but liked the word fundamentals, and I think it gets a bad rap because it just seems like
it's not basic. It is fundamental, though.
Yeah. I think that's what it ended up being, was him saying something along the lines of, "Oh, basics are dumb, but yeah, you got to know your fundamentals," like that. So, I feel like it can get a bad rap where people just want to see new stuff and try new stuff, but like again, there's a reason that there's the 30 class fundamentalist or whatever, and there's still stuff that I feel like I've spent time drilling in the class and I've seen it and I'm not ready to see it after a year and a half or whatever it's been that I look at it and I'm like, oh, that's in the fundamentals program? Weird.
Let's give a for example.
It's the back take from half guard. I was like, that's not a fundamental movement.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, I had
That
no
is
idea.
so diplomatic too.
I had no idea, but yeah, I was trying, of course I come to him with a problem in one area, which is just that my head is always down and I seem to end up here, and he asked, well, how do you get here? And I gave him one example because there's many of why I end up in that stupid position. And he's like, oh, okay, well.
And just to clarify for the audience, it was the back take off of a half guard position, right? Where you're doing the getting the underhook, taking the back and ending up in that bad position from not doing it correctly, right?
Yeah, and I'll end up anyway. So, and he was like, "Oh, how do you do that?" And I showed him the way I was taking people's back, with big quotation marks around that, and
air quotes.
And he gave me a couple pointers and like 5 or 6 of the steps along the way, all of them. And I was like, oh, okay, I was feeling pretty good about that, but turns out I was doing all that wrong. And then a week later or whatever, it comes up in the fundamentals class, and I was like, oh, that's a fundamental move, So, again, all the positions are covered, but I feel like you start to feel like you've seen it all and you want to move on to other stuff, but you don't need it, Like, that's the fastest way. If you just do those things, it's the easiest way most efficient way to finish a grappling situation.
Agreed.
Makes me laugh.
Agreed. And guess what? All those flashy things are fun to watch. And hey, guilty. I'll go down that rabbit hole and I'll sit there for an hour watching that stuff on, YouTube or wherever. But you're right. That fundamentals is where it comes back to. So.
Well, it's funny too because Ryan will be the one who's the most blunt about it with me, and I'll tell him what I'm working on and I explain why, and then he really politely goes, well, it's because you suck.
Or sarcastically, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, and it's not saying that, but if I wasn't so bad in the first place, right, I wouldn't be trying to do all these workarounds to issues in my grappling. Like, I'm just trying to come up with a more creative solution because I'm not good at the one I'm supposed to be doing. That's kind of what it always kind of keeps coming back to. It's like Charlie last night was saying, he's like, well, he was asking me why I was switching grips when I'm on someone's back. And I'm like, well, if they're bigger than me and they just go to this side, I was like, I can't get them back over, And I just switched grips and started attacking the other side. And that's working pretty good for me. You know what works better? Doing it the right way and using both legs and bringing them back over to the other side. It's way better. Yeah. I'm doing this whole elaborate hand switch scenario that doesn't always work when there's a simple 2-step process of using both of your legs to push the guy back over to the other side. And continue attacking the grip you already have. Like, I already have a grip in there. I don't need to try to make a new one, But, again, it just comes back to me not being good. So I'm trying to come up with these creative solutions as a workaround.
So what Ryan was saying is if you weren't so bad, you would be good.
Exactly. Stop being bad and do it correctly. You'll have no problem.
Great advice. That's black belt advice.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, I think we covered that again. If the audience wants to take a look at it, we do have it posted on the BJJ Campaign podcast group. Now, let's get back to what we're going to put out in our next episode 39 of the BJJ Campaign podcast. Phil.
So we'll do a quick introduction on the beginning of that one too. So it's like an entire episode within itself. But yeah, really excited for that one. It's I should have counted, but I'm 99% sure it's 8 black belts that we asked the same 3 questions to. Just general advice about jiu-jitsu. And because it was a general open-ended question, they could take it in the direction that they wanted to, and what was important to them or they think is important for you to know. Applies to all levels. It's never going to get old. It's all super great advice. I feel like if we were smart, you could charge $1 million for it because there's so much good advice in there, but it's...
we're not that smart.
It's going to be awesome.
I mean, we're making plenty of money on this podcast as it is, Phil. Folks, we make zero money. Negative money is what we make. But yeah, we got to interview world champ
Yeah.
Zhao Miao. Thanks to Gerardo. Gerardo, thanks for not letting him escape.
Yes, that was good.
The
Control.
that was awesome. And DeAndre Corby, among others. I don't want to list all the names now. I want you guys to get excited about it and listen up next week because I think it's going to be a great episode. I learned a lot from it. I learned a lot that there was somewhat of a consistency in some of the answers that were given, right? I mean, so that to me is not great advice, it's super great advice. It's like that's the stuff that should be, all right, let's follow this tenet just like we do grips, position, submission, our conceptual stuff. So yeah, really looking forward to that out.
I don't have all the details about everybody, but they're all black belts, and I don't think any of them are really new black belts. I'm pretty sure all of them have been doing jiu-jitsu for at least 10 years or longer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really, really solid stuff, and it was exciting. It was fun to listen to all the different answers. So I'm looking forward to that one going out because I think it's one that I'll listen to more than a few times.
Agreed. No, agreed. I was really excited and honored. Thank you to Bagels, making it possible to kind of set up that meet with Zhao, and also thank you to Boomer at the Toro Cup. I mean, those guys allow us to, run roughshod over there and just do anything we want with regards to recording podcasts, getting folks out of there. They're always so hospitable about, just take whatever space you need. The audio, just a warning, we're at the Toro Cup, so it's not the cleanest audio, but that's okay. There's the content.
It's worth it.
Yeah, content certainly outweighs the audio issues, but very good. Looking forward to that. I hope you guys are too. Philly, tell them how to support the BJJ Campaign Podcast if they so choose.
BJJCampaignPodcast.com, Facebook.com/BJJ Campaign Podcast, and join the group. That's where all the memes are happening. YouTube, BJJ Campaign Podcast, Instagram, same thing, and iTunes and all that other good stuff as always. And share with your friends if one episode kind of reminds you of somebody. That usually happens to me. I usually send Jeff or whoever a podcast when I pop up and see a good one, and I'm like, you should probably check this out.
For sure. Like, subscribe, leave us a review. All those things help. And we appreciate you guys. We appreciate you listening. We're trying to grow this thing, so help us do that. And if you're not out there doing something better with yourself each and every day, get out there and do it. Phil and I choose jiu-jitsu. We hope you do too.
I'm about to feed them to the sharks right now. Get them hype right now. Yeah. You know the ground is up. Yeah. Everybody that trains, you know the game. Yeah. So let's get it. Slap it up, bump it, and roll. Hey. Yeah, that's the way that it goes. Ain't no better way to better yourself in this game. You're feeling the growth. That's real. That's time on the mat. We put in the work. Believe it ain't easy, I know. But we train for the love of the game, the love of the art. Now slap it up, bump it, let's roll.